The research station floated quietly above a dead planet. It was made of shining metal, full of scientists, guards, and machines. Every part of it was cold and controlled. But deep inside, in a long, quiet hall, there was a room with only one strange thing, a glass cage. Inside that cage sat a girl. She didn't speak. She didn't move. She had pale blue skin and strange glowing eyes. No one knew her real name. The scientists called her Specimen 9. They said she was dangerous, that she could do things no other being could. Some believed she came from a forgotten world. Others said she was just a tool to study. One human, Cal, worked as a low-level maintenance worker on the station. He fixed pipes, checked wires, and cleaned hallways. No one paid much attention to him, and he liked it that way. But every time Cal walked past the cage, he stopped for just a second. Not because of fear, because of curiosity. While others looked at the girl like she was some kind of creature, Cal looked at her like a person. She was always sitting still, hands on her knees, her eyes watching quietly. Most people thought she was asleep or drugged, but Cal noticed something strange. Her eyes followed him not just once, not just by accident. Every time he walked past, her gaze moved with him, like she was waiting. At first, he told himself it was just in his head. Maybe it was part of her design. Maybe the glass made things look different. But the more he passed by, the more certain he became she was aware. She wasn't broken, she wasn't lost, she was alive. One day, when the hallway was empty and quiet, Cal took a risk. He stopped in front of the cage and softly said, "Can you hear me?" She didn't answer. He waited, heart beating faster. "I'm not like the others," he said. "I don't want to hurt you." Still no answer, but her eye, they blinked, once, slowly. It was enough. From that day, Cal came by often. He timed his rounds to pass by when no one else was around. He didn't open the cage, he didn't break any rules, he just talked to her. He told her about Earth, about growing up near trees and rivers. He spoke of music, laughter, and the stars. Sometimes he told jokes. He didn't know if she understood them, but it made him feel better. One day, after a short story about Earth's oceans, he saw her breath fog up the glass. And then, something surprising happened. She moved her finger through the fog, slowly, writing one word. "Help." Cal stepped back. His chest tightened. This wasn't just a creature. This was someone asking for freedom. But why was she there? Why did they lock her in this glass prison? He had heard rumors. Some said she had destroyed a lab with her mind. Others believed she could read thoughts or control people. But looking at her now, all Cal saw was fear. She didn't seem dangerous, she seemed trapped. That night, Cal couldn't sleep. Her message stayed in his mind. He knew the rules. He knew he was just a worker, not a hero. But something inside him had changed. That one word written in fog had burned into his heart. He whispered to himself, "If no one else helps her, maybe I have to." And for the first time in his life, Cal felt like he had a purpose. The next morning, Cal returned to the station hallway with a heavy feeling in his chest. He couldn't stop thinking about the word the girl had written. Help. No one else knew what she had done. The fog had cleared by the time the guards came by. Only Cal had seen her message. He stopped in front of the cage again. Her glowing eyes met his, calm and quiet. She didn't speak, but she didn't need to. He felt it in her stare. She was waiting for him. "I saw your message," Cal whispered. "I want to help you. But I don't know how yet." The girl didn't move. She just watched him. Cal felt nervous, but he kept talking. He told her about the sky on Earth, the way clouds looked like animals, and the sound of waves crashing on the shore. He didn't know if she understood, but it felt like the right thing to do. Over the next few days, Cal returned every chance he got. He began noticing small signs. When he asked a question, she would blink once for yes, twice for no. It was slow at first, but soon they developed a kind of silent language. Cal brought her small things. Nothing dangerous, just harmless objects like a soft cloth or a flower drawn on paper. The guards never noticed, and she always looked at them with curious eyes, gently touching them and holding them close. One night, while fixing a broken panel near the lab's control room, Cal heard two scientists talking. "She's still not responding to the tests," one of them said. "We've tried sound, light, even pain simulation, no reaction." "She's not reacting because she knows it's fake," the other replied. "But we know she's powerful. She destroyed a drone, just by looking at it. We need to figure out how to use her abilities." Cal froze. They weren't trying to help her. They were trying to use her. Later that night, when the halls were empty, Cal went to see her again. He stood in front of the cage, more serious than ever. "I know what they're doing," he whispered. "They're afraid of you. They want to control you." The girl slowly placed her hand on the glass. Without thinking, Cal placed his hand on the other side. The cold surface separated them, but he could feel something more. Something deep and real. He asked softly, "Can you talk?" She didn't answer with words. Instead, her lips moved slowly. Just one word. "Soon." It was the first time he had seen her try to speak. His heart raced. She was beginning to trust him. "I'll find a way," Cal promised. "I don't care what they say. You don't belong in a cage." She nodded once, and for a moment it felt like the glass wasn't even there. But Cal knew time was short. If the scientist learned she was communicating with him, everything would fall apart. He needed to know more. Why was she dangerous to them? What power did she hold? The next step was risky, but necessary. He would break into the station's locked archives. It was forbidden for someone of his rank, but he had to see her records, her history, her truth. As he walked away from the cage, her eyes followed him once again. But this time, he didn't feel watched. He felt trusted. Late at night, when most of the station was quiet, Cal moved through the metal corridors with careful steps. His tool bag hung from his shoulder, but tonight, he wasn't fixing anything. He had one goal: get into the archive room and learn the truth about the girl in the glass cage. He reached the locked door marked Level 4 Access Only. Cal's badge wasn't enough to open it, but he had studied the security panel during his repairs. With a small wire and a quiet pulse generator, he tricked the door. It clicked open. Inside, glowing screens filled the room. Files from years of research were stored here, hidden from normal workers like him. He typed quickly, searching for her code name. Specimen 9. One file opened. What he read made his hands shake. She wasn't from a hostile race. Her planet had been peaceful and full of life. Her people were not soldiers, they were healers, thinkers, and dreamers. But when a patrol ship crashed on their world, everything changed. The records showed how the station's leaders captured her after seeing her abilities. She could sense pain, calm angry minds, and even see memories. They feared that if she touched others, she could wake something inside them, something powerful. One line stood out in bold red. Subject must remain isolated. Human contact not advised. Mind link risk high. Cal leaned back in the chair. She wasn't dangerous because she harmed others. She was dangerous because she could open minds. She could show the truth. They didn't want her to wake others up. He quickly copied the files to a small hidden drive and left the room without being caught. Back in his bunk, he couldn't sleep. All night he thought about her. She was never a weapon. She was someone special, someone peaceful, and they put her in a cage out of fear. The next day, Cal returned to her. He looked at her through the glass with new eyes. "I saw everything," he said softly. "They were afraid of what you could show them. That's why they locked you up." The girl touched the glass again. Her face was calm, but her eyes were full of pain. "I don't know how yet," Cal continued, "but I'm going to get you out of here." She looked down, then up again. Slowly, she pressed her fingers together, forming a circle in the air. Cal didn't understand at first. Then she opened the circle wide and pushed it outward, like opening a door. A symbol. A message. Freedom. Cal nodded. Yes, I promise. But just as he turned to leave, he heard footsteps. 2 guards appeared at the far end of the hallway. You, one said, walking toward him. Why are you here off shift? Cal stayed calm. Fixing a loose panel. Got a report this morning. The guard looked at him for a moment, then shrugged. Fine. Don't hang around too long. This area is restricted for a reason. Cal nodded and walked away. But now he knew. He was being watched. He couldn't visit her like before. He had to be smarter, quieter, and faster, because now he wasn't just trying to help her. Now he was going against the whole station. Days passed slowly. Cal could feel the pressure building. The guards looked at him longer now. Some of the engineers had stopped talking when he walked in. Something had changed. Maybe someone had seen him near the archive room. Maybe the system had recorded his name. Still, he couldn't stop. Not now. Each night he worked on a small hidden tool, a mix of wire, plasma cutters, and a noise dampener, all stolen one piece at a time from different rooms. If it worked, it would break the glass without setting off the alarms. The cage was protected by sound sensors and vibration triggers. He had only one chance. He memorized the guard patrol times. There was a short moment, just 7 minutes, where the hallway was empty. That would be his only window. The night finally came. He stood in front of her cage again. Her eyes were already on him, calm, but full of hope. This is it, Cal whispered. When the glass breaks, you need to move fast. I'll lead the way. She nodded once. Cal took a deep breath and pulled the device from his belt. He placed it on the side of the cage just above the door lock. He pressed a button. A soft green light blinked. Countdown started. 10 seconds. 9. The girl stood up slowly. It was the first time Cal had seen her move fully. She was tall, elegant, and quiet like a breeze. 3, 2, 1. There was no loud noise, no bright flash. Just a soft click as the glass cracked and the lock slid open. The door creaked slightly. She stepped out. Her feet touched the floor of the hallway for the first time. Her eyes looked around, cautious but brave. This way, Cal whispered and led her into a service tunnel. The narrow tunnel was dark and dusty. Pipes ran along the ceiling, and wires sparked from broken panels. But Cal knew the path. He had worked here for years. These tunnels weren't on most maps. They moved fast. Behind them, in the distance, the alarms started to ring. They had noticed. Just keep going, Cal said, breathing fast. We're almost to the lift. The girl didn't speak, but her calm presence helped him stay focused. They reached the old cargo lift. It was slow, but it led to the outer dock, where escape pods and small shuttles were stored. As the lift moved upward, Cal looked at her again. You're free now, he said. She finally spoke in a soft, clear voice. Not yet, but thank you for beginning it. Cal smiled, even though his hands were shaking. What's your name? She paused. Sorry. Nice to meet you, Sorry, he replied. Suddenly, the lift stopped. Blocked. From above, voices echoed. Guards, we have to climb, Cal said, grabbing a side ladder. Without fear, Sorry followed. Step by step they climbed through the shaft, the metal shaking under their feet. Above them, the exit was in sight, one last door, but footsteps were getting closer. One wrong move, and it would all be over. Cal reached the top and opened the hatch. He reached down and helped Sorry out of the shaft. Just then, red lights filled the hall. Security had found them. Red lights flashed across the hallway. Loud alarms echoed through the air. Cal and Sorry had no time to rest. The escape path was ahead, but guards were coming fast. This way, Cal shouted, pulling Sorry's hand. They ran through the docking, level, passing old storage crates and empty supply carts. The station's floor vibrated as heavy boots followed them. Stop right there, one of the guards shouted from behind. Cal didn't stop. He led Sorry through a side passage only he knew, an old inspection route between the walls. It was tight and dark, but the guards wouldn't fit through it wearing armor. As they moved through the narrow space, Cal noticed Sari's breathing had quickened. Not from fear, but from focus. Her eyes glowed brighter now, and small sparks of light danced around her fingertips. "Are you okay?" Cal asked, worried. Sari nodded. "I can sense their minds. They're angry, confused, but not cruel." Cal didn't understand how she did that, but he trusted her. She could feel what others felt. That's why she had been locked away. The leaders were afraid of her powers. They reached a vent that opened into the small docking bay. Through the metal slits, Cal saw what he hoped for, a small ship still untouched. It was a transport shuttle meant for emergencies. Not fast, but enough. "To escape, we're almost there," Cal said. "Just a few more steps." He opened the vent slowly, checking for guards. The bay was quiet, for now. As they stepped out, Sari paused. "I must do something first," she said, walking toward the ship's wall. Before Cal could stop her, she placed both hands against the cold metal. A faint pulse of energy passed through her arms into the wall and spread out across the station like a silent wave. "What was that?" Cal asked, amazed. "I sent a message," Sari replied softly. "To those like me. To let them know I'm free. To give them hope." Cal stared at her, realizing she was more than just a girl with powers. She was a signal. A symbol. Someone. Others could follow, but their moment ended too soon. Behind them, a group of guards entered the bay, weapons ready. "Don't move," the commander shouted. Sari stepped in front of Cal. One of the guards aimed his weapon, but before he could fire, his hands froze, his eyes widened. "I see," the guard whispered. "I remember." Sari's energy had reached him. She wasn't attacking. She was unlocking something inside him. A memory, a feeling, something buried deep. The other guards hesitated. "Stand down," the commander barked. But they didn't fire. Cal quickly helped Sari onto the shuttle. As the door closed, one of the younger guards looked at her with wide eyes. Not fear, but understanding. The engines roared to life. Cal gripped the controls. "Hold on," he said. "Let's get out of here." The shuttle rose from the dock, spinning away from the station. No ships followed. As they broke into space, the stars opened before them. Cal looked at Sari. She sat quietly, her eyes on the stars. "You didn't hurt anyone," he said. "You could have stopped them all. But you didn't." She turned to him and smiled. "Freedom doesn't come from fear," she said. "It comes from truth." Cal nodded. He had risked everything, but somehow he knew it was all worth it. The shuttle hummed quietly as it moved farther from the station. Cal stared out at the endless stars. Beside him, Sari remained calm, watching the distant planets pass by. But freedom was not yet complete. A sudden message flashed on the console, an incoming communication from the station commander. The screen showed the stern face of a tall alien in uniform. Cal returned Sari immediately. The commander demanded. "You do not understand her power. She is a threat to the entire fleet." Cal's jaw tightened. "No, I won't send her back. She's not a threat, she's a healer. You locked her away because you were afraid." The commander's eyes narrowed. "You are a human. You don't know what you are dealing with. Hand her over or we will force you." Cal looked at Sari. She nodded slightly. "I'm ready," she said softly. The shuttle's door opened automatically. As it docked on a small hidden world, a place unknown to most. "This is where my people live," Sari explained. "They survived because they stayed hidden. But now, I bring hope back." Cal stepped onto the planet's soft grass, feeling the cool air and warm sun. Strange trees with silver leaves surrounded them. The sky was deep purple, dotted with two suns. Suddenly, the shuttle's alarms beeped urgently. The commander's ship had arrived, blocking their path. Cal felt the tension rise. The commander and his guards came down, weapons drawn. "You cannot hide here," the commander said. "Give her to us." Sari stepped forward, calm and strong. "You fear me because you do not understand. With a gentle wave of her hand, a pulse of light spread out from her. The guards stopped, eyes wide, faces softening. She looked into the commander's eyes. You hold lies in your mind, fear, anger, control. The commander faltered, his expression shifting. Slowly, he lowered his weapon. Cal watched in surprise. Sari reached out and touched the commander's forehead. Images flashed, memories of peace, kindness, and hope. The truth she carried could not be hidden. The guards lowered their weapons, some even kneeling. Cal turned to Sari. You saved us all. She smiled softly. Freedom is not just escape. It is truth. The commander stepped back, nodding. You may stay. Your people are welcome. Cal felt a new beginning in the air. Together they walked toward the hidden city of Sari's people, a place full of light, life, and friendship. Cal knew his life had changed forever. He had set her free, and, in return, he found a home among the stars. The hidden city stretched before them like a dream. Soft lights floated above paths made of smooth stone. Tall trees with silver leaves swayed gently in the warm breeze. Strange flowers bloomed in colors Cal had never seen. It was peaceful, alive. Sari walked beside Cal, her steps light and sure. Around them, beings like her moved quietly, watching with cautious hope. They were pale like her, with glowing eyes and calm faces. These were the last of her people, the ones who had escaped long ago. Cal felt a strange joy. He was far from Earth, yet somehow he belonged here. The fear and coldness of the station were gone. Here there was trust and warmth. An elder approached them, a tall woman with eyes full of wisdom. Sari, she said softly, you have returned, and you have brought a friend. Cal bowed his head respectfully. You saved her, the elder said to the others, not just from the cage, but from loneliness and fear. Sari smiled at Cal. This is your home now, too. Cal looked around, feeling the weight of her words. He had risked everything, his job, his safety, even his life, to free her. But the reward was more than he imagined. That night, under 2 bright moons, Sari invited Cal to sit beside a quiet pool of water. The air was filled with soft music, songs from her people full of hope and memory. She reached out and placed her hand on his. Cal, she said, you asked for my name. Now, I want to share more. Slowly she touched her forehead, and a soft light connected between them. Images and feelings flowed through Cal's mind, stars swirling in colorful dances, memories of her world, and the quiet strength of her people. He saw her fears, her hope, and the loneliness of being locked away. He understood why she had stayed, silent for so long. And then something changed. Cal felt a calm power fill him, like a warm light growing inside. It was a gift from Sari, a connection deeper than words. You gave me freedom, she said. Now I give you a home. Cal smiled, feeling peace he had never known. The next days passed with learning and friendship. Cal met others like Sari, who welcomed him without questions. They shared stories, dreams, and plans for the future. He helped repair their technology and shared Earth's ways while they taught him theirs. For the first time, Cal was not just a worker or a stranger. He was part of something bigger, a family among the stars. One evening, as they watched the twin suns set, Sari stood and looked at him. You saved me from the cage, she said softly. But you saved all of us, from fear and silence. Cal took her hand. We saved each other. And in that moment, Cal knew the truth of the universe. Sometimes the greatest reward is not gold or power. It is the freedom to be yourself and to find where you truly belong.